Hi,
Hey,
Tony.
how are you?
Great. How are you? Hi, Miss Shay.
I'm early today. I'm
Oh.
early.
So for some reason, I am recording and I
Yes.
don't know why.
Is there a way to stop?
I can end, I guess I can end, but I don't know if I will be able to restart. Oh, let's see what's going on.
Usually there's a little tab at the top that says like record on record.
You're fine. You're fine.
It's recording. Let's see.
You're fine.
And Jason Grow is saying he didn't get a link.
Can he join as just a public and then be changed into a panelist or?
Hollywood, do you know that?
Hannah, when you sent the invite to IT, was he included?
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably buried in his email somewhere. I
Mhm.
bet he has it.
I had to go searching for it.
I told him to check from an email from Ryan Knowles.
Yeah, it actually comes from, let me see where mine came from. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Come on, go lie down. Yeah, you're just, yeah. go
Yes,
lie-
I got mine on September 22nd, so he could go back a little bit.
Okay. Email was September. Let's see.
On here. Can I'm just struggling with this today.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, we're recording, so it's
Okay.
5:30. Shall we start?
Yeah. Is there a way to let Jason Grow in? Holly, do you know?
Yeah, if I see him on, let's see, he might be on the participants. I'm not sure what I don't see his email address here. So if he comes up as
Someone already has their hand up.
yeah. Do you want me to allow them to talk? Maybe it's
Oh,
him.
yeah.
We have we not officially started though?
We have not officially started.
So should we kick it off and then have them speak?
Yes, we can. That's a great idea. I'm sorry, I'm just looking for the link. I'll send this to Jason. Pardon me. Compose. Jason Grow. And all right, so I'll send him a participant. Okay, check email. Sorry, this is weird. Technology is weird. Okay, so that's sent out to Jason. He'll check that. And if he comes in, Holly, as a audience member, you can switch him over, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'll say that. Holly will switch you over. Okay, perfect. I apologize, everyone, for the tech. Hi, Sarah, for the technical delays there. So hopefully Jason will join us soon. Okay, we will get started. This is the Human Rights Commission remote meeting. Today is September 26th, 2022, and it is 5:32 p.m. Consistent with Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time and participate when necessary. Additionally, all votes taken by the Gloucester Human Rights Commission during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. All right. And we will go ahead and call everyone to order. We have Tony Borge,
Here.
Hannah Kimberly is here, Michelle McCaffrey,
Here.
Mayuza Alves,
Yeah.
and Sarah Peck.
Hi.
And we also have Holly Dugwillow with us. Do we want to review and approve minutes from August 29th, 2022?
Do we need to?
Yes.
I
Move
need
to
to-
approve.
I move that we approve the minutes of August, what is it? August 17th, 2022.
Yeah,
August
August.
22nd.
Oh, August 22nd. Yeah.
Lots of twos.
Yeah.
okay. And did someone second that?
I second.
Okay, great. Thank you. And is there any discussion? No? Okay, then we'll vote to approve those. Tony,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Mayuza,
Yes.
and Sarah.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Before we begin say anything else, I just want to remind everyone that on Tuesday, October 4th at 1 p.m., folks are coming together with the mayor, as they always do at Gloucester City Hall for a flag raising ceremony and the reading of the annual proclamation recommitting ourselves to our continued efforts to prevention and response to domestic violence. So if anyone can make it, I will be at work, but if anyone.
What time?
I'll be there.
It's
1
at
What
o'clock.
time?
1 p.m.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I know,
on
I
a
know.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yep. I'll be there.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. Okay. Holly, you said someone had a hand raised. Should we just
Yep.
get?
They
That's
lowered it actually, but if,
Oh,
back
there
up.
it goes again.
Okay. Let's just say hi and welcome.
Oh, hello. I'm sorry. I haven't done this with this hand business before, so I raised my hand just to see what was going on, how to make it all work. But I don't want to interrupt, so I lowered it.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll lower it again. Thank you.
Okay.
Did Kimberly, you and I communicated by email the other day. If you want, you're welcome to go ahead and speak now, so you don't have to stay through the whole. I mean, you're welcome to stay through the whole meeting as well. But
Well, actually, I'd love to listen to the meeting so that would inform me as to what would be appropriate to say to the committee, to the commission, and how much detail to give and et cetera. So
Okay.
if you don't mind, I'd rather wait,
yeah,
to another appropriate time.
okay, great.
till
Yeah,
another appropriate- Okay, thanks.
sure,
you.
absolutely. Jason
Jason
is not. Oh,
Joined us.
Jason.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Let's pull him in. I'm going to promote him to,
There he is.
there he is.
Am I with you?
Yes.
There we are.
Fantastic.
Hi, Jason. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
Thank you.
Jason, you're actually next on the agenda for high school members.
Yes,
Hello.
thank you very much for that. So I did finally get a response from James Cook, who's the principal of the Gloucester High School. For those who don't know him, James is great. And I think, as I expected, he would be totally receptive to this. So as far as that process goes now, we would have to, there's a couple questions that have to be answered, which Suzanne Egan is checking into for me, which is, can they be a voting member? If they are not at the age of majority, probably not. So they would have to be an ex officio member, which may be fine, because I think that's the issue is whether or not you want to have their voice on the panel, not necessarily whether they're voting on any particular issue. They would have to be open to any high school student in the city, regardless of where they went to high school. So it wouldn't necessarily be a Gloucester High School student. It could be a student who goes to Waring or to Rockport or to Manchester. But I think what the commission needs to do now is they need to put together an idea of what that means in terms of, you know, the who, not the who, what you want in terms of trying to encourage a student to join the commission, what that means. And then because the commission goes through the mayor's office, we'd have to go to the mayor and say, the commission would like to add an ex officio student onto the commission for their input and advice. They would be a non-voting member, most likely. Again, we'd have to get that confirmed with Suzanne. Greg would then ask the city council to amend the ordinance that establishes the Gloucester Human Rights Commission. And that would then go to the council for a change to the ordinance. And then we could bring in somebody, put the application that's out there for people to apply to be appointed. So that's the process. So the commission is going to have to decide if it wants to have a high schooler on board. And if you do, then you would then make a motion to refer that recommendation to the mayor's office and get him on board, and then have that referred then to ONA to have that run through the ordinance administration. Tedious, but that would be the process, because I don't think we can go directly from the commission to the city council adding a member. I think it's one, even if the mayor's office only signs off on it and says, yay, that's a great idea. I think you want to go through the administration on this, because they're the ones to appoint the boards. So.
Great. Yeah, I think it's worth it. What do you all? I think everyone is.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we recognize the value of having a youth member and having their voice and perspective on the commission.
I agree with Tony. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think it's a good idea. You know, I don't know if there's a discussion on whether or not you'd want, you know, the student to be a junior or a senior, or somebody who's a little bit more, you know, in the mature place of the thing, or whether it's open to any high school student. You know, I think that maybe that's something you talk with the administration on, in terms of defining it a little bit more narrowly. Again, I think the voting issue is not really that critical, because it's not this is not an adjudicatory, we're not issuing permits or things like that. So the voting is not as critical, I think, in that regards, in terms of being legally manageable. But if the goal is to have the voice, then I think that's all you need to explain to the administration.
Yeah, I think that's the goal for sure.
Hmm.
So.
All right. Do we want to make a motion to?
Well, I just
Yep.
wanted to ask Jason, because I'm taking the minutes and just want to get, so in it earlier on, you said something about it doesn't have to be a Gloucester High student, it could be students from elsewhere.
It would have to be a Gloucester student,
A Gloucester student, oh, I see, and they could be.
but not necessarily a student from Gloucester High School.
Oh, I see, if they're attending somewhere else, but as long
Correct.
as Gloucester, okay, I
Yeah,
just want
yeah,
to get
you-
that clarified, okay.
I
yeah.
don't think, I mean, I don't think you could make a good argument that you could reject certain applicants just because they didn't go to Gloucester High School.
Right, no, I understand that clarity, thanks.
Yeah, you
To
don't want to be the organization that discriminates against people who don't fit the
Could be
criteria.
Gloucester resident, right?
I'm sorry?
Gloucester resident, but doesn't have to be going to Gloucester.
Correct. They would have to be a Gloucester resident, and they would, you know, and again, I think it would be open to appointment by the mayor. So you know, the mayor may have a particular agenda as to who he thinks or she thinks in the future would be the most appropriate member. But, you know, if no one steps up, then, you know, I mean, it's a seat that doesn't have to be filled, but I think it would be better if it were. And I don't think that, I mean, I would personally lean towards a Gloucester High student, but I don't think you could tell if there was, you know, all applicants being equal. You know, I don't think you could tell a Waring student or a Rockport student who lived in Gloucester that they weren't welcome to join or to
Yeah.
apply. So.
For sure. Another question I have is how will we get this invitation out to students?
Well, that would be, again, that's a good question. I think the easiest answer is that once it goes through the process of becoming part of the ordinance, we would just send a note out to the high school and to, I suppose you would have to make it to neighboring schools, or you could send it to the school committee, and the school committee could then generate an announcement. I think like any of the boards and commissions that get filled, a lot of it is word of mouth. You know, there's no outreach that says, hey, we're looking for planning board members. But I think that you know, the first stop I would have is I would send James Cook, too many cooks at Gloucester. I would send James Cook a note that said, we've gotten approval to bring on a member. Maybe you might announce this to your student body. Here's the criteria. The administration welcomes any applications from students. And then, you know, one of the stipulations you could make on it is that maybe it's only a one-year position, you know, so that other students have an opportunity over the course of, you know, the 4 years of their high school, that if one doesn't get in, they could try it again the next year. You know, making it, you know, there are some perfectly responsible and mature freshmen and sophomores. So I don't know if you want to make a distinction, but that may be something that comes up again in discussions with Greg about sort of, you know, the profile of what you're looking for in terms of their participation. You know, it might be that you open up to everybody for the first year, and if you only get a freshman and it doesn't work out very well, you could always say, hey, maybe next year we'll try seniors and juniors or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've had 10th graders lobbying. at
I
the
was just
State
going to
House.
say some
Yeah.
freshmen are more
I know.
mature than seniors
exactly.
and juniors.
And I would not want to prejudge anybody who is interested in being on the commission, because if they're going to go to the problem, you know, to the effort of applying, going through the process, they'd have to be vetted at the city council like any other member of a commission and be put on there. I think it's something that they want to do. You know, it's not just a resume builder, but so what if it is, you know, as long as they're there to participate and bring in their viewpoints. And then, you know, what that means in terms of practical changes, I don't know. You know, I think that's one of those things you don't know until you try it out and see how things work.
Great.
So.
Thank you so
And-
much for the research, Jason.
And I think it makes sense to have 1 year, because if we have a senior and then that person graduates and they
Goes
get
to
a
college.
goes to college, they're still on board, but they're no longer in the high school. So it
Right,
really
and they're
makes sense.
far less likely to participate and be involved. And
Mhm.
that's, you know, I think that's it. But again, I think, you know, that what you'd want to do, whether it's tonight or the next meeting, but there's no reason I don't think you can do it tonight, is to make a motion to request that the administration consider the addition of a high school student, a Gloucester resident high school student, to the commission for a period of 1 year, subject to council approval. And they'd be an ex officio member, so they wouldn't be a voting member. And then to recommend that to the ordinance city council to move through the ordinance and administration. That's
Okay.
I'm just recapping what I said earlier, but
Great.
I wanna
Great.
make sure when you put the motion together, you do it that way.
Okay. So I am happy to make that motion.
We have a hand raised again.
Oh, hand raised.
Hi, Kimberly. You're muted.
Maybe it wasn't intentional. I don't know.
Okay. I will go ahead and make that motion, and after I do, if, nope, Kimberly's gone. Okay. Okay.
I moved her back.
Okay.
Yep.
So I make a motion to refer a recommendation to the mayor's office for a Gloucester resident, high school student, for a one-year position on the Human Rights Commission, subject to council approval as an ex officio member.
Second.
There you go.
All right. And is there any discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. Tony,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Mayuza,
Yes,
Sarah,
Yes, definitely.
and Hannah, yes. Great. Okay, this is exciting.
I don't get
Um,
wins like this, so I'm excited.
Michelle, can you talk to us about DEI education for city employees and the interviewing for city positions, please?
Absolutely. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the process, but a community member reached out to the Gloucester Racial Justice team regarding some statements that were made in a panel interview for someone who's since been hired to the staff. We then put together a small team. We contacted the mayor's office, and the mayor first said that this was the place to actually start the conversation. But at the time, we only had a couple of people's emails address, but we went through the whole process. And in that process, the city of Gloucester has committed to not only providing education for all of its employees, but also opening up that education to community members and commission members as well. How that looks moving forward, we're not exactly sure, but they have committed to that. They're in the process of rolling that out and making it work within the city employee pool. With that, we also questioned if, as part of that process, when you vet people who are trying to be part of the city, you incorporate additional questions into that process as well. So I think it would be a great idea. I know that one of the questions that this particular candidate answered, I think that if it would be really great if we maybe came up with a list of maybe 5 or 6 questions that we think would be appropriate to ask any candidate, regardless of what position they are going for. I don't know if there are a set number of questions already on the list that people are asked as part of the process. Obviously, being equitable, you want to ask similar questions to all of your candidates to make sure that you have an apples to apples comparison. So I wanted to present that. I think it would be a great idea if we came up with maybe 5 or 6 questions that covered both diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, to make sure that people who are on staff with the city are not only aware that this is something that Gloucester cares about, but also know that this is something that they obviously have an ability to be trained on, and make sure that we are attracting talent that is cognizant and aware and wants to do better in these areas overall. I'm happy to come up with some questions. I just want to see if you guys also thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, no, you know what? I think it is because, when I was working at Bunker Hill, and I sat on several search committees, and as the committee, there were criteria what the kind of questions that had to be asked. And then we, as the interview team, created the questions. And then it was reviewed by, administration. But to ensure, some of the criteria was that we had to ensure to make sure that there were questions that, on diversity, equity, inclusion. So I think it makes A lot. I think we need to know, I mean, maybe Holly can answer this question, is how many questions are asked during the interview process? Because maybe 5 or 6 might be a lot. I don't
Well, I
know.
was thinking of giving them options. So depending on the
Yeah.
position,
Yeah,
certain questions would be appropriate and certain questions
see.
necessarily wouldn't
Okay.
be appropriate. So I think that if we came up with a good list that
Mhm.
covered all of the possible scenarios, that there would be at least 1 or 2 that could be incorporated into the slate when you are actually interviewing a candidate. That's what the number came from, not necessarily
Yeah.
everyone needed to answer all
Yeah.
5 or 6
No,
questions.
thanks for clarifying that. Yeah.
That could take up a whole hour interview all in itself.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is a great idea. Holly, you're the person with the plan here. What are your thoughts?
I think that's a wonderful idea. All of our positions, it depending upon the position, some interviews are, there's as few as 10 questions, some have 3 pages worth of questions. So to have a list of something that we can put, we currently have guidelines for hiring, for interviewing. If we can incorporate that into the guidelines, so each employee who is sitting in on the interviews, we generally get a list together, and the same questions do have to be asked for each candidate that are applying for one specific position. So if we incorporate that and let them pick a couple of questions out of that, I think that's a wonderful idea.
Perfect. Now,
There's-
in terms of me coming up with the questions and presenting them, what would be the process?
Send them to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do we need to approve those questions? before they
Yes,
get
yes,
sent
I
to
will
Holly?
share them with, everyone.
So then
Okay.
we would approve them the next meeting then, is that,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, great. I'm
Mhm.
just clarifying for the minute.
I don't have them written right now, so. I
Oh, yeah,
couldn't
oh,
approve
yeah,
them.
you don't have them in your back pocket.
I do not. I do not. Another question, just so that I can be as broad or as all encompassing as I could. What are the buckets or departments that that are part of the city employee pool? That way I know that, like, for example, maybe sanitation or like whatever the
Sure.
groups are, could you send me like the list of departments?
Sure. Do you want to be specific, or do you want, I mean, like public safety is police and fire.
Mhm.
Obviously, those questions would be probably close to the same versus the Department of Public Works. All of their questions wouldn't matter whether they're in, water, sewer, highway. The questions would remain the same. And then you've got your management staff and office staff that would kind of fall in the same category. So I would think a bucket of 3 or 4 different categories would be great.
Okay.
And just so you know, also, so we've got our training schedule. We're working on our training schedule fiscal year 23, and we keep getting Maya, who is our insurance company, who is handling some of these trainings. They're going to be doing the DEI training. They keep pushing it back because, like everybody else, they're having trouble with staffing and, getting these things. We were scheduled for October, then it went to November, and now I still haven't got a date in November. So we're doing the best we can. But in the meantime, some of the, I know you're going to be asking questions or creating the questions, which I think is great. But I think one of the things that you mentioned this when we were meeting with the mayor, what do you actually do or say when somebody maybe answers a question that everybody's uncomfortable with? And I think part of the training that we do is let people know that when somebody maybe says something that appears out of line, it's okay to say, can you clarify? Can you give me more information? That's where, because everybody kind of just stops and not sure how they want to proceed. So I think we'll be working on that too. If you're unsure of the way a question's answered, to ask them to clarify.
Yeah, that's great. Call them in.
You know what, and this has been an issue we've been discussing for a few times, because we've been contacted by members of the public where concerns have been made at a public meeting when there have been, inappropriate or, language that is used, and that this is the city council or, you know, who's holding the meeting didn't do anything, but part of it is that people need training because one, they may not have picked up what the language was. Or
Mhm.
two, not knowing how to approach the situation so that you're, you know, recognizing the, whatever point that person is making, but the language that they're using.
Right.
And so I know that we've had this discussion, and I think, you know, and I know that, I think last month, and, you know, that this has been a discussion with the Gloucester Racial Justice Team. It's been a discussion with the Gloucester 400+, the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee. And so, yeah, so I've sent out a doodle poll, and for those of you who, you know, about, for us meeting next month to begin that, because so that way, you know, we're all working together as the same team. And, you know, because if you're contacting one, all of a sudden they hear like, oh, the school committees are only been contacted by who, but if we do this together. So, you know, we're seeing through all our different, you know, groups that we're working with, these common themes.
Right.
Ms. Shea, would you like help?
Yes.
Do you with the dueling Google Docs?
Yeah, we could absolutely do Google Docs. I can
Okay.
absolutely start up a Google Doc and then invite every panel member in case you'd like to throw in your
Yeah.
Is this
opinion.
for the, wait, let me, for the clarification for the minutes, is this for the developing of the questions?
Yes.
Okay,
And I think that's fine if we all contribute to that, right, Holly?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, great, great. Okay, wonderful. Let's see, update on the revision of the school use contract. Tony, that's you.
yes, I had, you know, last month when we met, I had gotten you know, an update from, you know, Melissa, Joy Texera Prince about where they were, and they were having a meeting, God, in August or September. You know, they're the Building and Finance Committee and to the school committee. And so I asked her, and I heard from her this last week, and the you know, the BNF committee, the Business and Finance Subcommittee, they met September 21st and approved the new policy, procedures, and fee language. It's going to the full school committee. It's probably going to be, she expects that this topic will be on the agenda for the September 28th school committee meeting at 6 p.m. So once the school committee approves the revisions, you know, to the policies, then we will be able to see, get a copy of the contract. So they're moving. Mhm. You're muted, Hannah.
Jason, did you have something to say?
I was just gonna say that if they're discussing it at the 28th school committee meeting, then it's the agenda's already been posted, so it should be available.
Okay,
You, I'm just looking to see if I can find it real quick. I used to get those every month, but then I stopped looking at them. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll bring it back up to you.
Okay.
If I do find it, I'll send you a link.
Awesome, thank you. Did you all get to see the brochure that Sarah did?
yes.
Shall I share
I
it?
actually have one question. Sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot to ask. So a community member has an issue. What are the channels of contacting us? So I know that we have an email address. Is there like a way for us to like call City Hall and maybe get a voicemail? What are the options of the public to let us know that they have an issue, grievance, problem, etc.?
As of now, it's only the Gloucester Human Rights Commission email.
Would it be possible for us to get a mailbox at City Hall for voicemails that get emailed to the box, to the email box?
Well,
Because
our
I know that for
email
some
is-
people, like email might be
Our
more
email is through
difficult.
Gmail. It's not even through the city.
Oh, well, you could probably still forward it to a mailbox. I just feel like one way of contact might not necessarily be as accessible as it should be.
Right, which would be a phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Holly, what do you,
Well, I do know that obviously the resources are limited. There's lots of boards and commissions, and they are not assigned individual phone number. I do think that if there's an issue, if somebody cannot reach the Human Rights Commission with an email, that I honestly believe that if they contacted the mayor's office, the HR, or any office, that somebody would put them in touch with your commission or get in touch with Hannah and have her call them or something like that. They're certainly not going to be turned away. Everybody's aware of the Human Rights Commission, but I can ask, but I do not think that we would be able to get a dedicated line at City Hall.
Okay, just thought I'd throw it out there.
How about, is there a question? Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah's got her hand raised, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think, a pretty simple solution, which we could connect a Google Voice number to the Gmail account, and then
Ooh.
that Google Voice number would be masked. So it could go to, for example, your phone, Hannah, but it would be a secondary number. It wouldn't be linked directly to you, and it would still be easy to check.
okay. Will you help me with that, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, pretty easy, but yes, I will help you sign up. And I think that we should be able to set it up pretty rapidly, as long as that doesn't like create any issues. But since we're using a Gmail account, I don't see why we couldn't use a Google Voice account too.
Okay. And so people would leave a number, and then leave a voice message, and I would check it from
From your
My-
phone. I just you download the app, and it reads just like your messages or anything else that you receive.
Okay. And will I get an email notification that I have a message?
You can probably set that up.
Okay.
Probably be an app notification. You probably have to enable them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question for Holly. I think it's for her. I was thinking about this even. Is any possibility we can get like a card with our names and email and a card?
You mean it's like a business card?
Something to say the name and the emails, and you can just pass around, and just leave. In my case, would be like at the Brazilian store, and put that Portuguese speaker, or if it's someone speak Spanish, we could just leave something there. So if they want to send an email in Portuguese or Spanish, they could send, and they know somebody's gonna interpret that. I don't know. It's just something. Sometimes that happens to me, and then I say that I am one of the members of the Human Rights Commission, and I have to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any information with me. You have to look it up." And
Right.
it's kind of, you can even prove that you are who you say you are. Who you represent in the community.
Right. To my knowledge, again, this is the only board or commission that I sit on. There are no funds available to have something like that printed up. I will certainly ask. I believe you can probably print them yourselves. I don't know if you're able to use the City of Gloucester seal. I mean, those are questions that I can't answer, but I'd be happy to find out if it's something we can ask for.
Yeah, I don't think I would mind to print it myself. It would be great to use the logo for the city, to have more, people trust more, but it would be great to have something to give so they know we are who you say we are.
Yeah. I will ask that question and email you with my answer.
Hannah?
Thank you, Holly. Yes, Jason.
This actually touches on something that I was going to bring up actually when you're referring to the brochure, and that is that I was in a conversation I had last week with Suzanne Egan about other issues. We started talking about the Human Rights Commission, and she has some ideas about what the commission's not our. I'm just an observer mostly, but I'm around what the constraints and responsibilities of the Human Rights Commission are, it was brought to my mind because I was looking under the what we do and the respond and investigate human rights. concerns from members of the public. And I think the word investigate may be an issue because we're not technically an investigatory agency. And one of the things that we suggested was that she come to the next meeting and
Right.
and talk about. Did you want to say something, Tony? Go ahead.
Yeah, because it specifically states in the ordinance that.
Does
we
it?
can- Yes, it does.
Well, that's good because I didn't know that. And when I saw it, I was like, well, maybe this ties into what she was saying. So investigate human rights, then by ordinance, maybe it is an investigatory agency. But I guess that what we suggested to each other, we talked about was that it would be maybe a good idea to have her come on and have a more deep conversation about what the role of the Human Rights Commission is, what its responsibilities are, what its parameters are in terms of whether or not you can do things. There's open meeting issues that come into play when people make complaints. You know, how does the commission navigate those issues so that they're being effective to the people who are needing the services? And I would strongly recommend inviting her to the next meeting and bringing up some of these things, because, you know, part of this is that one of the things she has to do as a city solicitor is defend the actions of the commissions and boards that are making decisions. And she would want to make sure that whatever the commission does is something that is defensible from her perspective as the attorney.
Right,
Yes,
and, you know, sorry, I was just gonna say, we've been working on this in May. We went through all the ordinance with the questions about, because we recognize we're really constrained right now. We have no ability, you know, until we meet once a month to, you know, to be proactive, or when somebody asks us, so that we can immediately respond. Because, you know, because unlike other commissions, and so, but and like say in terms investigate, well, like, wait a minute now, what can we do? And so we went through the ordinance, you know, with lots of questions, and asked for about whether these can be revised, you know, like to get some clarity on that. And then the former city lawyer left. And then when Susan Egan came on, and Holly mentioned this in May, that she would take some time to you know, to ramp
Get to
up.
speed, right? Yeah.
And I know that, you know, that was on the last, agenda item, and that Hannah had heard from Susan about this, so that, you know, we're kind of, I don't know if we're jumping ahead a little bit on our agenda item, but yeah, so we've been working on this, you know, and everything you raise is like, yes, because we're, you know, one, ensuring, you know, open meeting law, but yet at the same time,
Confidentiality.
yeah, confidentiality, being able to react, you know, when an issue comes up quickly, instead of waiting, oh, we got to wait one more month, because if we met already. So it's, yeah, we're a little different than, you know, like the Conservation Commission or the Planning Board.
Right. And just to add finally to that comment about business cards and things like that, if that's something that is something that the administration wants to go forward, I'm sure that you could probably squeeze $500 out of the mayor's office to get business cards for the commission, maybe. But I as a mayor, I would have a hard time turning you down. I'm just saying, but I'm not the mayor, so there you go.
thanks,
Not yet.
Jason.
No, never to be. Just
Never to
wipe that
be.
from your thoughts.
Yes, Suzanne Egan did reach out to me on Friday, and then
Okay.
I haven't heard, I responded to her email, and then I haven't heard back from her. So maybe I will reach out again to her and ask her if she'd like to come to our next meeting.
Yeah,
Is that-
I think she probably wants to hear as much from you about what it is you think the role of the commission is, as she is going to then suggest back as to what, you know, she feels the parameters are legally.
Right.
And there's, you know, one of the things we need to talk about is that different communities, human rights commissions, have different roles and they have different powers. And, you know, this is, as far as I know, this is the first one in Gloucester. So this may be something that has evolutionary consequences down the road, but, you know, I think that's a broader discussion to have as things go on. But I think there's obviously some desire on a part of the commission to be a really good advocate and resource center for people to come with problems and issues. I just want to make sure that, the commission is as effective as it can possibly be within the constraints that we have.
Right.
So-
What would be interesting we actually, there was a Human Rights Commission before us
Really?
that
the
died in the 90s.
Oh, okay. I wasn't here.
It'd be interesting to look at their minutes. But
We'd have to ask the archives to get that.
I know, that would be cool though.
And there's
I
only one
guarantee you the
person-
minutes are going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
So
all are.
that-
And it's only one person who volunteers, so.
Yeah. That's just the nerd in me coming out anyway. Okay, let's see. HRC member recruitment.
Yeah, because we're down a few members, and I mean, well, we were trying to recruit to be at a total, full membership, and also that right now, also the Disabilities Commission has never been able to go up. So what I had done is I had, I'm sitting on representing us on, the Coalition for Prevention of Domestic Abuse. And at the meeting in September, I asked that question, and one person communicated with me, and I provided the information and asked if, follow up, and I've not heard back. I am going to follow back, and I've been talking to a number of people saying, looking for, we really would have such a diversity. We'd like to have somebody from the LGBTQ community, other communities, and haven't had much success. So I've been thinking about, other ways, and I know that in the past that I think Hannah, you were on our little 1623 station. And I was thinking, I was wondering, and and I do know that the paper has, did it, like kind of like a want ad, like kind of looking for members to apply. But I was wondering at some point, maybe we could have like, in the paper, and, where we have, somebody gets interviewed, or we could, we have where we talk about what we do. So it becomes more, informative to the public that this is what we do, as opposed to, I'm not really quite sure, you see, like we would like people to apply, to serve on the committee. But they're looking human rights. I'm not really quite sure what they do, so that I don't know. I was just thinking that might help be more informative. I'm kind of stymied a little bit of how more that we can, really try to recruit members.
I think Sarah's brochure is a good way to get folks.
Yes, I think that's great. But, depending on where people are, I mean, to go to the library or whatever, but I think, I don't know what people think about, trying to see if we can get, a nice little article about us in the paper.
Well, I know that Heather Atwood at 1623, they're kind of always looking at content, and she had reached out to the Gloucester Racial Justice team saying that anytime you guys want to come on and like do stuff, and we've done a couple of segments with her regarding the survey we put out to the community when we were getting ready for the Martin Luther King with the Gloucester Meeting House, in coordination with that, when we were pushing to do our 21-day challenge in the community. So I think if we had like a couple of people who wanted to kind of talk about a specific topic, and maybe it's, hey, there's a Human Rights Commission in Gloucester, and what do we do? It could be really that simple. I think they would be more than happy to kind of interview us, talk with us about it, post it both on their Instagram, on their Facebook, on their website. And I think that might draw some attention.
And I was thinking, and I think we had proposed this quite a while ago, and maybe it fell off the radar, but we had talked about like literally drafting social posts for like Gloucester Central social media outlets. That's something that we could also do, and propose a post to whoever the social media manager is and see if they're scheduled just a couple, and maybe even do like small paid promotions, which would have like a reach throughout the city. And that would get at least people's eyes on it. We could do like little branded posts too.
Yeah, so it looks like, one is that to go back on to 1623, to, using the paper, because, and then, I guess, what the city's Facebook or other kinds of social media that we could, blast, because, again, not everybody reads the paper, not everybody watches 1623. And again, looking at the communities that we want to target, I think we have to be proactive and looking at, using all different, looking at all the kinds of media that people use.
Great. Holly?
Is the brochure something that we could have? I haven't seen the brochure, so I don't know what it is. Is that something that we could have posted on the website? I mean, the Facebook page, city's Facebook page?
Sure.
If you send it to Pam Toby, she's the communications director. She can, with the approval from the mayor, get that out there.
Okay. It is a PDF. Is that fine?
I would think so, but
Okay.
if you just email her and let her know what you're looking at, that and send it to her, and that might be a way to get the word out there. And obviously, I don't know if you all see the announcements that the mayor has, but once you do see it, obviously share it and it'll.
Great.
And I can also export it in other formats. Like I think, Hannah, maybe get a Google number on it first, like set that up, update it, and then I can export it in, not just like a PDF, but in like a JPEG. I could actually create a smaller iteration that would be like friendly for social media, and like export it in a couple different formats. So, and then send it over to the comms director.
Okay.
And
Great.
just so they post job postings for me also sometimes on that. The people can actually apply right there, and I know they like to see a resume when they're looking to join a committee or a
Great.
board, so it might work
Holly,
well for you.
What is the name, Holly, of the person who I would send this to?
It's Pam Toby, so it's P Toby, Tobey at gloucester-ma.gov.
Great.
And who is Pam Toby again?
She's the constituent service, communication director and constituent services, I believe.
Services, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back on the website to make sure.
Yep.
And then I think, in Mayuza's point about the cards too, at some point to have us, have it printed in, Spanish and Portuguese and I guess. Oh, it is. Okay. And do we need it in Italian? I don't know how many. Okay, it already in all those languages.
Absolutely.
No, if you can make in Portuguese, Sarah, or and I can take a look because Brazilian Portuguese there was some some difference. Or if you think you can do it, it's okay. But I can take a look before.
Yeah, and then do we know somebody who could do it in Spanish or Italian?
Well,
I
there's a website that'll do that for us.
Okay.
Our information on DEI is in different languages, and we were
Okay.
able to pull that out. But if we're going to be creating these brochures with all this information on it, will a business card even work? I mean, is that truly what you're going to need as business card, or should we be handing out brochures with the phone number on it that has all the information, what you do, the phone number, the contact information, how to get it out there? Business card, you're limited to a very small section.
Yeah. I think
the business card is something that we're not going to put our phone numbers on a business card, but if you want to give to someone and you say, okay, so I'm a member of the Human Rights Commission, this is the email, but if you want to put our phone number in the back and say, if you can give me a call, we can talk about it, and then something like that. That was something we could, I don't know, maybe we can use more, more private.
So do you want me to wait for approval until you get your phone number? The Google, the Gmail phone number?
yeah, I think that's
Okay.
probably good.
All right, so I'll sit on that for a bit.
Okay. Great. And I'll just make a note to myself. right, I also will attempt it by myself, Sarah, and if I need your help, I will reach out to you.
All right, no problem. Either way.
Thank you. Let's see. Update on the ballot to repeal the Work and Family Act. Mayuza.
I think Holly have something to say.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to let you know
Sorry,
somebody
Holly.
had their hand raised. Kimberly had her hand raised if you want me to bring her in, or do you want to wait? You're muted.
Bring her in.
Okay. Hi, Kimberly.
Oh, hi, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna mention about the brochures. Is it possible to leave give out brochures at polling stations during elections? Because that's one place everyone has to go. Is
That's a,
vote.
that's a good idea. I think as long as you're.
I don't know, it might be illegal, but you know, if you had some ready for the November election, you know,
I think if it has
Might be
nothing
good.
to do with the candidates on the ballot or the questions on the ballot, it's permissible, but don't get me wrong, I've only done.
yeah,
one
it's
year
just
of voting.
an idea of how to reach people, you know, a
Yeah.
lot of people in the
Mhm.
city.
The two people I would ask that question of would be Marie, the registrar of voters, or Joanne Senos, the city clerk, and Suzanne Egan. I don't personally see any particular problem with it, but you also run the risk that you allow one, you allow
Everybody.
everyone.
Mhm.
And so you need to make sure that you certainly could do it outside, but whether or not they're part of the actual ballot things, it might be you might get a different answer from Joanne.
I just
So-
thought maybe that, you know, you could have, they might have tables where there's other
Mhm.
information and
Yep, no,
you
it's.
know,
that's-
anyway, so it'd be a
that's-
place
yeah.
to put, you know, brochures.
Yeah, I know, like, for example, at all the elementary schools, how they have like those bake sales and then the parents set up and outside of obviously the polling station where the parents set up and they're sharing activities or they're doing like a raffle for whatever. So I think there's probably definitely a way for us to do it.
Right on. I will, thank you, Kimberly. I will, I'll write to the clerk's office and ask that. It's a good idea. Okay. Mayuza, ballot to repeal the Work and Family Act.
Yes, so there was no much but that we are, so it's a question 4. We're gonna it's a yes on 4. So and the campaign just started. We are working on it. I couldn't be in a meeting this week. I just had a lot going on this week in my family, my dad visiting and everything. But yeah, we are. It's a question 4 now. It's a yes on 4, so we're gonna be asking it. Unfortunately, the campaign, we don't have money enough to put the signs, yard signs. So I don't know how this campaign is gonna be, around.
It did not go into this.
No, I didn't see there. Yeah, there's not in that neither. So, but it is gonna be in the ballot. It is gonna be in the ballot. It's a question 4.
Okay.
So we see how it goes, but we're gonna be doing cameras and phone calls and things like that, but it's not, yeah, not a lot of money in it, in a campaign to work, but we're gonna work on it and see, do the best we can.
Well, you'll let us know how we can help, Mayuza.
Oh. Definitely will. Did you get the letter to the mayor?
No, you
Yeah.
know what, Myos, I had asked you, like if you had any idea, because I know I was going to contact the mayor and ask if he could, issue support for keeping the was it the Family Mobility Act? Is that?
Yeah, I did that.
Hmm?
Yeah, but then Hannah sent me, Hannah.
I did that. He
so
did
you
not
did-
respond.
Okay, because I was
And I
thinking,
CC'd Jill Cahill as well.
Yeah,
okay, so you've already contacted him.
Yeah.
All right. I was wondering, and maybe at this time, is this something that, we could, I was thinking, can we send a letter to the editor as the Human Rights Commission, stating our support for the law you
No,
know,
no, we
That-
cannot.
No. You have to
Okay.
have to be-
Yep.
go through the mayor's office.
Yeah.
okay,
Unless the mayor say yes.
Right. And I emailed him
But you
Yeah.
could,
weeks ago.
you could clearly communicate with individual citizens who could draft such a letter and send them. So why was that? Like, you probably know people who are deeply involved in this, who are not on this commission. You could help them draft that and then still get eyes on it.
Yes, yeah, we are working on that, yeah. I'm working with Sunny Hobson, some of you know her, and we work on that with the letters too, yeah.
I don't believe that you're prohibited from writing your own letter.
No, no,
Yeah, you as an individual citizen could certainly write a letter stating your support for, or,
I did actually help Sunny with article to the Gloucester Times, so I think it was what, 3 weeks ago?
yeah, I saw the letter.
Yeah, and so yeah, we're doing, we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna do one
Yeah.
myself. And,
See, this is where I feel like we're constrained on, you know, because this is a human rights issue. And I recognize, you know, we've got, you know, we're an official city commission. But, you know, this is a human rights issue. And this is where like we, you know, like as on the Human Rights Commission, that we're, you know, kind of, yes, the mayor will say it, but we're, you know, we can't make these statements. I don't know, I guess. I
Yeah.
feel that's, you know, this is, to me, that's really constraining, you know, for the public. I don't know. I mean,
can you not though? I mean, this is a question for Suzanne, I think, is
okay,
Mhm.
can the commission vote to endorse a referendum
mhm,
that is fundamentally founded in the issue of human rights?
mhm,
My
yes,
gut would say yes, but you know,
Would-
again, it's one of those things where, you know, it would be good to have an understanding from the legal department and whether or not that's it's an appropriate thing. Personally, I would think it would be, but I'm not a legal scholar, so I don't want to go down that road, but you could certainly, I mean, it's unfortunately, I think, let's see, September, October, you could certainly query Suzanne and have something by the next meeting, which
mhm,
is the end of October, which is before the election. But I would definitely want to get some,
oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, mhm,
you know, yeah, you're good to go, or no, that's not, I mean,
The mayor's office has made it crystal clear that this is an advisory committee right now until anything changes. Anything that is going to be endorsed has to be approved by their office.
okay.
So
So-
I would obviously send it to Suzanne too if you want, but it does make sure all the mayor, Jill and Suzanne are CC'd
So
on.
could
anything.
play devil's advocate, could the commission recommend that the mayor endorse this?
Yes, yes.
And that's
that-
something you could do.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so you
That's
could make a
what we have to do.
recommendation to endorse this as a thing, and then it puts it on his plate. I mean, it's, you know, then he can do it as or not, but you will be on record for having said that.
Yes.
Would you like me to try again then? Send
Yeah.
another email?
Mhm.
yeah.
Because we have done this, correct? You have recommended that he endorse this.
Mhm.
We've done this, yeah.
Yeah, if we've already done it, I would just, I'd waive it and say, you know, okay, he may ignore it. You know,
But
I
spoke
think
with
it's,
what, and he support the bill. Before we got, I know he totally support the bill and the law, so I don't know why he didn't,
so let's try again.
maybe, I don't know.
he to be fair, there's been a lot on his plate, getting up to speed, so it's worthy of a
Yeah.
second little hey.
Yeah. Reminder, yeah, just
Yeah.
to-
All right, so we want to vote on that, correct? Help me out.
Do we need to
Jason.
vote if we've already done it and you're just resending the email?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
if you already have a recommendation in the mayor's office, I would just say that you can, I mean, you can make a formal motion to request a response from the mayor's office on this recommendation and then send them the recommendation.
Okay, I'd like,
Um,
yeah,
Then,
Mhm.
then it's formalized, or you could just give them a call. But
let's, yeah, I'll make a motion, I think. So, I make a motion to request a response from the mayor's office on the ballot question number 4, the Work and Family Act authorizing undocumented residents to acquire driver's license.
Second.
Great. Sarah will take a vote. Sarah?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Or I should ask before we vote, is there any other discussion? Okay, Sarah said yes. Michelle,
Yes.
Mayuza,
Yes,
Tony,
Yes,
and Hannah, yes. Okay, great. Thank you very much. We have our feedback now from the city lawyer. That was number 9 on the agenda. Hopefully I will catch up with her. I will email her tomorrow. It is hard to get me by phone during the day because I'm like, I can talk to you between 2:25 and 2:55. So yeah, I will do that, follow up on that as well. Do we have any other, Jason?
I just wanted to circle back on the school thing. It is on the agenda for the school meeting, both the building use procedure policy and fees and the building use requests. But I can't find the actual packet, which I usually get the morning of the meeting. So I can't find the minutes from the budget and finance. They call it building and finance. We have budget and finance, they have building and finance meetings, but as soon as I have access to it, I'm certainly happy to send it back to you all, but it will be discussed on the 28th.
which is Thursday, is that right? Thursday?
That is
Wednesday.
correct.
Wed-
No, is it
Wednesday.
Thursday?
Today's the
today, today?
26th.
It's Thursday.
Wednesday.
Okay,
Wednesday. It's the 28th, yeah.
all right.
Today's
Um,
Monday.
I have one point about the business card. The difference, one thing on the business card different than the other thing that we're doing is the business card could give it the name of the members. And I think that would be helpful for them to know who we are. You know, that would be a good thing too, because they might, especially when we're dealing with people with some very private, situations. They need to know who they are, if they can trust somebody that they already know, they feel more, inclined to talk to about, something private that they want to talk. So in the pamphlet, the flyers doesn't have the name of the members. So that's a way for us to identify ourselves. Just a point, that
Yeah.
could be, and then the other.
Right, what do you all think?
Not that I'm voting member, but if we put people come and go on and off this committee, you're going to have, you're adding, we're looking for people to be added. We're looking for high school kids. It might not be the best way to spend your money by putting the names on them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the central contact information is what I would vote for.
Okay, anyone else? Mayuza, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's not exactly what I was thinking, but it's okay.
Oh, okay, okay. Let's see, Kimberly, did you still want to speak with us?
Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, I had to unmute. Sorry about that. Yeah, I wait a minute, all these things are muted. I don't know what's going on, but I just want to say I really appreciate everything everyone said. It was very interesting. I realize that you guys have done a lot of work, but you're at a point where you're still trying to make yourself a force in the community. And that I feel that at this point, my problem that I've encountered, it might be a little too early to discuss it with you as a group. because you don't even know what your powers are at this point in terms of investigation, et cetera, investigatory powers. You know, I might, you know, prefer to come to a few other meetings before I discuss it. It's a gender discrimination problem. I think there's a lot of inherent bias that city people have when they're dealing with women in the community, and not a positive bias, but you know, a problem with taking women's issues seriously. I have a history in architecture. I have a lot of background as an architect. I graduated in 1976 from architecture school, and I've worked for architects my whole life. And I've dealt with a lot of building officials, et cetera. I'm not a registered architect. I work for architects though my entire life. And I have found that that women are not taken seriously in the building trades. And, you know, it's pretty common. And, you know, the building inspectors are no different from other people in the building trades. They just don't want to take women seriously. I can't get people to even call me back ever. And, you know, I think it's something they should be sensitive to, that, you know, stonewalling women, you know, could be felt as gender discrimination. And you know, it's just something I wanted to talk to you guys about in the future, about how to deal with that. I think it's a situation where you have to sensitize people to the fact that, you know, stonewalling people could be misconstrued this way. They might not be doing it intentionally. Maybe they're busy, but my problems are as important. You know, I pay $10,000 a year in taxes. I should be treated, you know, with equal consideration as any man who pays his taxes in the city. So, you know, just a thing where we could, I totally wholeheartedly think it's great that you're talking about education as an important aspect of human rights. So anyway, I could talk in more detail in the future, but you guys have a lot of work to do, just figuring out how to deal with all this stuff. And there's a real problem with transparency. You know, the records laws in Gloucester are minimal, so it's going to be really hard to investigate complaints. So, you know, maybe I should join the commission and try to help you guys out. That might be a good project for me. I'm retired. You know, I'll think about that and consider applying. So.
Great, thank you, Kimberly. And Tony,
Mhm.
I have Kimberly's address as 21 Cliff Road. Is that correct, Kimberly?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I'm in the chess club at the senior center. I taught chess at the library last year. You know, I have a little bit involvement with the city. I got vetted in order to teach children chess, et cetera. So, you know, that it might be something I could do without too much complication. So,
You know, Kimberly, I would say if you're interested, I know that, we could email you just, like what, just the steps to submit your, interest in serving on the committee. It's not a difficult process.
I think it's a letter, right, of intent?
Yeah, it was
and
a
your-
letter of interest, and with
And
a
your resume. Mhm.
outlining why you would like to be, serve on the committee
To the mayor's office.
to the
to
mayor's
Mayor
office.
Verga.
okay, yeah, that would, I don't have a background in human rights, but, I have a background in feeling marginalized. So I think that,
Well, and that's an important, that's a really important piece, in regards to, because your personal experience and understanding, having, because then you would be able to empathize and provide, insight and guidance, that some of us may not have.
yeah, well, trying to be in a field that's mostly dominated by men is something that maybe, I don't know if any of you other women have had that experience, if you've been involved in a field that's 95% in, men, but it does create a situation where you do feel like a marginalized group. So, yeah, I'll think about that. Send me any information you have and I'll try to prepare something.
Jason?
As the only guy here, I feel a little awkward about piping up on this, but this sounds like an ideal topic for your DEI employee training and all. Is how do different departments deal with applicants who come across the board? I mean, no one, I don't think anyone is going to say, oh, I treat women differently, at the building department or the whatever department. But I think that having an awareness that it's happening, whether you intentionally are doing it or not, it's an issue that is, and I imagine there are other female contractors and architects in this community that could probably be asked about their experiences, confidentially, and see if there is in fact, room to look at the training and say, look, this is has been traditionally a primarily male dominated industry. Well, it's 2022 and it's not anymore. So we need to revise how it is that we deal with people in the public as they're coming to, a critically important part of their business, which is dealing with the building department and permitting process. So.
Thank you, Jason.
I appreciate that. Yeah, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have looked at the records and less than 3% of the people who apply for permits, contractors, even owners, are women. So they don't have, direct contact with people in the building department. And when they do, I don't know if they think of women as people who have any real agency or power. And so they may just inadvertently treat women as if they're back burner people. And, I feel that way. I feel that way dealing with the Department of Inspections, and I'm sure other women do too. In fact, I spoke with a woman who worked there and she said, how men are, a woman who worked at the desk. So, I don't think I'm way out in left field with this. I think it's going to be a sensitivity training thing. And so, hey, I've been involved in this field since I started my first job in like 1977, and things have improved only slightly. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Kimberly.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And, I'd love to help. I'm not like a real touchy-feely person. I'm more of a logic person, but I feel for people who are marginalized. I really do. And, especially the immigrant population in the city. I really think that that's something we should deal with, because Gloucester depends on the immigrant population for so much.
For sure. Sarah had to pop off because her family is calling her. Get it in gear, Mom.
Good luck,
so-
Sarah.
I don't know how you've lasted this long, Michelle.
Shh, don't jinx it.
Your kids are much younger than Sarah's, so.
Oh,
Oh my
goodness.
goodness. Is there any other additional info? All right. Our next meeting is October 24th, the week before Halloween. And we will vote to adjourn.
I make
Second,
a motion to
Oh.
adjourn.
Great.
gotta
And-
cut myself.
and Tony already seconded.
Uh.
Tony,
Yes.
Hannah, yes. Michelle,
Yes.
Mayuza, and Jason Oh, not Jason. No, not you, Jason. No offense. I appreciate you all so very, very much. Thanks for all that you bring to this commission. I'm
Thank you, everyone. Have a
grateful.
great evening.
Everyone.
Bye.